Hi, Facebook friends. Helen Archontou here, CEO of the YWCA of Northern New Jersey. So grateful to have this time together with you on this beautiful Thursday morning. And so happy to have with us a very special guest. As you know, YWTV has been trying to bring the social back and social distancing and create opportunities for us to stay connected during this time. And it's been my wonderful honor to have an opportunity to talk to so many wonderful small business owners over the last few months, and as I do actually in my entire career, but in a special and different way since we've launched YWTV, of course. And today we're in for a real treat, and I can attest to that because she and this store is one of my absolute favorites. I'm so happy to have with us our special guest and owner of Montclair Bread Company today, Miss Rachel Wyman.
Hi,
Welcome, Rachel.
thanks for having me.
And we want to thank all of our YW followers. In case you've been waiting, I'm sure everyone was waiting to watch technical difficulties this morning. I promise we weren't just eating donuts. Way to spend the morning for sure. But Rachel is an award-winning career baker who has taken her passion for the wonders of yeast, flour, sugar, and butter to her hometown of Montclair. She's a graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, and she took ownership of the Montclair Bread Company in 2012. This small, cozy storefront that was on Walnut Street near the train station, um, which has, was, we'll talk about that, was owned by someone. She took it over and moved it and blew it up into a much larger retail space on Label Street. And with that, really changed and grew the business. And so it's a wonderful opportunity that we're getting to talk to her today. You may have been following Rachel. She's been in the media a lot because of all the great work that she's been doing. She also won the grand prize in America's Best Raisin Bread competition, which was $10,000 on the Food Network's Donut Showdown in 2014. I know she's got a lot of celebrity lovers of her donuts, but more importantly, she's got me. I love her. Welcome, Rachel. Thank you so much for joining us again.
Thanks for having me.
So I know you've been up hours already baking today,
Yeah.
because I know what your effort is. So um, I know your business is much more than just a bakery.
Mhm.
That you are really connected to your community, and that you've really made it a place and a space, for your social justice beliefs and your community connections and supporting each other. Can you tell us about? You have a lot of camps. I know you've got the camps for kids. You have these wonderful events on Friday and nights normally during the summer, or your pizza nights, and I think Thursday nights for Saturday nights too. But you really become a place where people can come together, and also your summer camps.
Mhm.
So, and I didn't forget the donuts. Amazing donuts, but she really makes great bread too. She makes amazing breads, and I tell you, we order the king cake from there. We've ordered the Easter bread. I mean, we've done it all.
Wow.
It's I'm a frequent flyer. Uh, but tell us a little bit about the backstory of how your business started.
Oh, wow. So it's been 8 years. I just celebrated my 8th year in business, and so I started out. I was living in Montclair, and I was doing recipe development for different grocery stores all over the country, designing bread recipes for them. And the byproduct of recipe development is lots of loaves of bread. So I started inviting friends that I'd made through my prenatal yoga class and other moms in town to come to my home and pick up bread once a week for their families in exchange for just giving me feedback on the recipes I was working on. And we were talking about people passing behind us. Jess is here. She's passing behind us. This is our office space. So the moms were encouraging me to start selling these breads at the farmers market, but there's a lot of politics around farmers markets, and you can only have one baker, and our local farmers market already had a baker. It doesn't matter if they're completely different kinds of bakers, one baker. So About a year into this, one of the moms said, "Hey, there's this bakery on Walnut Street. The owners are retiring, moving to Australia, and they're looking for someone to take over the space." I had no plans of opening a retail bakery, and I was comfortable with my corporate job at the time, and but I talked to them, and over the next 30 days, I developed a business plan. I was actually finishing up my master's at the time, so my MBA, and it was my final project. So it worked out well. And then I was able to, at the time, my husband and I, we just had our third baby, and we were living in this tiny apartment. And I mean, we were like paycheck to paycheck would have been a dream. We were much below that level, just really scrimping to make ends meet. I was the only income for our household. And so the idea of taking over this business required money to get it started that I didn't have. So I wrote this business plan and talked to the moms who had been picking up bread for a year, and they invested in my dream and helped me get up and running. And, that's how it all started.
Well, you can always leave it to a group of women, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes. Well, that's a wonderful, wonderful, inspiring story. Um, a question for you, because I actually, not only do I love your business, but and your everything that you make, but I used to go to the other Montclair Bread
Mhm.
years, and you guys are two totally different businesses.
Totally different.
And 8 years later, you've really made it your own for sure. Can you
Yeah.
tell bit about, just so that other small business owners maybe that are watching, that have thought about buying an existing business, can you tell us a little bit about making it your own and what that journey was like? Because they were lovely, lovely people. I enjoyed everything that they made. And although I still see like hints of some of their stuff, you really evolved it into something totally different.
Um, that's been a huge struggle for me. It was really, even after moving the bakery to a different location entirely, people still associate it with the previous owners. And when I took over the business, their company was actually named the Bread Company, their bakery. And so I changed the name to the Montclair Bread Company, trying to retain some of it, but make it my own. But that didn't matter. Everyone connected us anyway. And my style is 100% different than what they were doing. And it wasn't really my intention to continue their business, but to make it my own. And if I could go back and do it all over again, I would have blown it out from day one and just, not even tried to have any similarities at all. That I learned quickly that any goodwill I had was actually negative, because I couldn't ever be them.
Right.
And they weren't ever me. So, I wish I had done what I wanted to do from the very beginning. But at the time, I was afraid to use, white flour and sugar and butter, which are the things that I value most in life. And, because they were known for having this healthy, a lot of vegan, gluten-free. And I tried to continue that. And that's not who I am. It's not what I do best of all. So the donuts were never part of the business plan. I was all about artisan bread. I made donuts for my staff one day, and there were surprisingly extras. And I put them out for sale thinking everyone was going to tar and feather me in the middle of the street because they weren't healthy. They weren't, it was like flour, butter, sugar. And quite the contrary, everyone embraced them. And then we started seeing new faces come through the door. And the more of that, it just really like got me going. And then I was, it was like the floodgates opened. And I brought it all in and really made it my own. So I credit the donuts for that transition.
Well, that's really great. That's really great advice, to our small owners watching, to listen to your instincts, right? And I often wondered that, because as I said, I used to go to the other bakery, and I go to your bakery, and I could imagine that it was, kind of, in the nonprofit world, I could equate it to when you take over for like a legacy executive director for a nonprofit and you come
Mhm.
in and they've been there for 20, 25 years, and then you have to come in and be the next one.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a challenging evolution, you know, to make space, but obviously you've done it, but it's great to hear your lessons learned, for that along the way. So one
Mhm.
of the ways that you definitely, and again, because I've experienced both, but you definitely forged your own path, and I think have also forged your own path in Montclair as
Mhm.
a standout is your community connection.
Yes.
The way that you have really embraced, the the community, embraced the nonprofits, and embraced the individuals in our community that are underserved and need help, and
Mhm.
support organizations that are helping them. Can you tell us a little bit about your motivation and what drew you to that? Because I can just tell as a patron of yours that comes from the heart.
Mhm.
you know I read it in your emails, I see it in your social media posts. By the way, everyone should follow Montclair Bread on all the platforms. You'll definitely be running to get there quickly once you know what she's posting. But it comes through. It's so genuine,
Mhm. Thank
and
you.
like it's obviously at your core of who you are.
It is, and you see it. I'm sure as a nonprofit, you see it as well. Other people try to take something that I've done and replicate it, in the interest of building numbers or making more money or whatever, but you can't replicate it if it's not from your heart. So just like the business thing that we just talked about, it's the same thing. I never I moved around a lot as a kid, and I never really felt that sense of community, and what I wanted more than having a bakery was having a community. And so in that, I like to share whatever I have, if that's food or running or anything. I just really want to do better and be better in this community. And so it's just looking for ways. I listen to what people need and what people want. And, sometimes I can do it, sometimes I can't. But I think that's just important, to keep your eyes open and your ears open and listen to what the community really needs. And it's just like our 5K this past December. We raised money for the high school track team, because I was aware that they lost their entire fundraising capability for the whole year because their track was under construction. So they weren't able to have any of the invitational track meets that brought in other communities and money through the Booster Club. And track is one of those things that is available to anyone from any socioeconomic class. You just need sneakers. It's not like some of these other sports that require a lot of money. And so then you took these kids that didn't have the funding to travel to their track meets because their track was under construction. So we raised money. That was what the race benefited this past year. And we were able to raise $6,000 to give to them for to replace some of the funding that they lost. So it's just about being aware of what's going on around you and helping where you can.
Yeah, well, I think that definitely is what separates you and your bakery. And again, other people can try to replicate it, but they can't replicate that it's coming from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
And that it's making an impact, And I know that there are people like me, that are out there that, want to support places that are supporting, the community, because then it's kind of a give
Right.
win-win.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful that you support the community as you do. So let me ask the question, right? I mean, we've been in COVID,
Mm-hmm.
land for the last few months, and obviously there's been a lot of devastation and a lot of loss, that happened for people, personally as related to the sickness, but it's obviously very much impacted our economy
Yeah.
and as well. Can you tell us a little bit about, how it's impacted your business, and
Mm-hmm.
how you have managed that and gotten through to today, where
Yeah.
we're slowly opening up New Jersey a little bit more each day, and
Right.
hopefully with that, bouncing back the economy a little bit more too, and getting more people shopping.
Right. So I think the thing that's really interesting to know is, any information I get as a business owner, I'm getting at the exact same time as the rest of the public. And I'm given as much information as the rest of the public, which means nothing at all. You get like restaurants can reopen on June 15th or whatever, but there's no rules or, guidelines for that. And it's just like when we closed in the beginning, we never closed operations, but when we entered the quarantine, the strict quarantine, we didn't have any more information than you did or anyone else did. So we were just kind of like making it up as we went along. And so one of the things that we did pretty quickly, we have a very young part-time staff, high school, college kids, everything. So we, pretty rapidly decided that we were only going to operate with our full-time staff to limit the number of people in our facility. So there's 10 of us total. And then with the social distancing and everything, it's like, well, how can we do this? We can't have people in our bakery. We have this, huge patio space. So we started lining, people had to call in to order. It started out that way. And then we set up an online system. And we put all of the orders alphabetically on the patio so that it was completely contactless. If they had a question, we were there to help, but otherwise we're pointing them in the right direction to get their order. The other thing that we did from day one, we were the first in Montclair to start offering groceries and pantry items through the business, because I couldn't get to the grocery store. Even if it was easy to enter the grocery store, I physically couldn't get to the grocery store. So I started ordering more fruits and vegetables and everything from my suppliers. We use these things all the time. I didn't have to set up any new connections. These were our current suppliers, and I started ordering more for my family. And then it's like, well, I can't eat a case of peaches by myself. I just really wanted a peach. So, we had, up until the point of quarantine, been putting together these meal kits for our running club and some others, but it was all geared towards active, busy people. And that was 2 breakfasts, 2 dinners, and a couple snacks, and they were mostly prepared. So instead of doing that, we changed it so it was 3 vegetables, 3 fruits, and an avocado most weeks, and just offered this rotation of fresh fruits and veggies to our community. And it was super well received. I mean, we were doing 100 boxes a day of fresh fruits and vegetables in the beginning when no one could get to a store. And then again, it's important to listen. So that's when I started sending out updates to our customers and asking for input and what do you need? And we added flour and milk and eggs and sugar and, pretty much anything more than one person asked for, we added when we could. And so now there's not much. We even have frozen meats, and we're doing a dinner box that's everything you need to prepare a meal, from the appetizer to the dinner to the dessert, and breakfast kits. We have pancake mix from Toast, the diner in Montclair. So it's just about, listening to what everybody needs. But a lot of that I extrapolate from what I need myself. And then I figure if I need it, others might, and we figure out a way to make it happen.
Yeah, I thought that was so creative of you to, jump in and start adding those pieces, because even, I have, small kids at home. And so, trying to keep them busy during the day, baking, one of those like things that you do at home.
Yeah.
Couldn't find yeast and you couldn't find flour.
Right. And there was no supply shortage. It was just getting it.
But you were really helpful in kind of making that connection. But along those lines, the other thing that I think you have really helped with, for anyone who is following you on social media, is sharing your recipes and kind of creating these challenges for us at home to be able to try to be Rachel Wyman ourselves. And
Yeah,
So that seems to
um,
be creative. You did many creative things during this time, but that definitely seemed to be one of them for me.
well, it's tough because, so we have been very successful in selling these additional grocery items, and that's been able to keep the doors open and the staff paid, for one more day, and allowed us to break even through what we thought was going to be a tremendous loss. Because, like you talked about in the introduction, there's so much more to my business than selling bread and donuts. We had to cancel a race in March that we had 1,000 runners signed up for, so it's postponed till next year. We, had to cancel our summer baking camp, which is a huge source of income for us, and all the baking classes, the pizza nights with music on the patio. So all of these things, it's like the business has been whittled down to one single revenue stream, where we used to be very diverse and have these different things that could offset and balance when there were peaks and valleys. So that's been tough. And because my baking classes got wiped out, I started sharing these recipes. I baked a cake out of my grandma's recipe box. It was like the day that we found out the kids weren't going back to school, and I'm like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? And I was just so anxious and depressed, and I grabbed my grandma's recipe box, and she had this recipe for a poor man's cake, which just uses basic pantry items. There's no dairy, eggs, butter, nothing. It's just like flour and vinegar and baking soda, and cocoa powder. And so I baked that, and I shared the recipe, and I figured everybody, like you said, has kids at home they're trying to entertain. So I committed to sharing a recipe a day, which I thought was going to be 2 weeks. And I'm on day like 88 of recipes. And I'm like, what am I going to, who wants what? And the kids are like, Mom, we've eaten enough. Like, it's like.
I still, I just, funny enough, just got the coarse salt so I could make the pretzels. Um,
Oh, yeah.
Flagged, and I wanted to make that first recipe you're talking about, but I didn't have the cocoa powder that day. I had
Yeah.
else on it. But I have to say, I really think that that's been another real gift that you've given, because as for those of us that are home, with kids and trying to figure out what to do with them. And I'm sure even if you're home without kids, it's always nice to have an activity like that that's a little bit of a challenge, testing yourself, doing something new, seeing how it comes out, and then enjoying it, because, you know, um, everything that you put into it, even if it doesn't come out perfect, it's still good. And I love how you, even that when it doesn't come out perfect, that it's still good.
It
you,
still tastes good. Yeah, exactly.
so let me ask you, as a mom, how are you coping with
Oh my God, I'm not. I'm not at all.
and working, because that's a lot. As
Oh,
sitting here talking to you, I'm watching mine run around around me.
I bet.
I get it. How do you? What are any tricks? Any
No, in the beginning, so I have my youngest is he takes most of his classes are special ed. So that's been a real struggle, because I physically can't support him in the way that he needs it. And in the beginning, the first few weeks, my daughter, who's 12, was helping him because she felt empowered and independent, and that was great. And now they hate each other again, and that's not working at all. And why can't he do it on his own? So I just kind of gave up. They get done what they can. Whatever they can't get to, it's okay.
It is what it is. You have to be kind to yourself during this time, and also I think for the kids as well.
Yeah. So it's just putting together whatever they can. I don't know, whatever they get done, they get done. Whatever they don't get done, but I get lots of fun emails from the teachers all the time. It's like I do what I can.
I get those too. I got
so like emotionally drained over all this. It's like I don't know
It's hard. It's hard. Appreciate you sharing, because I think for a lot of us that are working moms, um, you know, uh, it's
Yeah,
both people in the house are working, or you're a single parent. It's really,
right.
really hard. I'm fortunate in a sense that, my husband can do his work in the evening. And so day. He's doing the homeschooling. He doesn't feel very fortunate about it. And he's feeling like your 12-year-old not enjoying it too.
Yeah, exactly. I have 3 kids, and I am a single mom, so it's now relying on the 12-year-old to hold it together, and she wants nothing to do with her brothers. So we bake a lot, and even then, I did. So I my recipes transitioned, as you know, into this baking challenge. So once a week, I challenge everyone to make the same recipe. And I made s'mores from scratch last week, I guess. And so it's a homemade graham cracker, a homemade marshmallow, and a homemade chocolate layer of ganache. So I've got these things that I need like an extra hand to take the picture for the instructional thing. And I text my son, who's been into photography since this whole thing started. I was like, can you come help me take a picture? He said, can't Josie do it? I was like, no, I just need somebody here to take it. Can one of you come down? Well, no. Can you get Brad to do it? No. Can somebody help me? Like, I'll give you a s'more. They're like rolling their eyes. It's like,
I know it's a lot. I have to say it's a lot to manage, and I give you a lot of credit because not only are you managing what's going on in your house, but you're managing what's helping so many of our houses stay happy, because when we show up with a box of donuts or some of your great bread or some of your other grocery items, or your kombucha, your coffee, whatever it is we come home with, it definitely changes the tone in our home. So thank you for, being a real supporter of the community and, helping all of us through this time. And I'm really glad to hear that, your creativity has paid off for your business, because one of the things I think there's so much, loss and sadness to be watching right now for sure. But watching the businesses and the nonprofits, a lot of the organizations just kind of trickle away because they're not able to be sustained when this is a time we need it most. So I'm happy to hear that. So tell us a little bit as we're kind of closing out. I know obviously the events, that we've seen in the last week happening in our country, you've really kind of, and people have, I think, many people, I should say, have been angered and outraged and have, through social media done a lot of sharing. And as an organization that, our core mission is about eliminating racism, that we do this work every day and obviously, recommit to it each day, with our work. But, we try to encourage people to do more than just put a black square, on their media page and share some posts. We want people to get more actively engaged. You're an example of kind of taking your, your work life and taking your social justice beliefs and melding them together, as we've talked about. Can you tell us a little bit about, what you started over the last few days to, stand up for your belief in eliminating racism?
Right. I think, this industry in general has always had more diversity than most industries. My profession in general, being in the restaurant industry. So it's always been something I felt very strongly about. And like you said, I could just like post a statement and be done with it. And, that's what everybody, it's just this lip service, I guess. But instead we chose to give 100% of our sales, gross sales on Sunday to a couple different organizations. And being as though food means a lot to me, I discovered that there's an organization called Appetite for Change in Minneapolis that is not only bringing meals to people who need them, but also rallying for social change through their food mission. And that really struck a chord with me. So half of the money was given to them. And then I wanted to give the other half to the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, but they are not accepting any more donations because they are fully funded at this point. And they provided a list of other organizations. So we chose to give to the NAACP Legal Aid Fund and help with that mission moving forward. We have diverse team here, and I want to speak out for anyone who feels like they can't speak for themselves, and do whatever I can with the platform that I have. And I am really grateful to have that support and that platform that was given to me by my community, and use it in the most responsible way possible.
Well, I appreciate that. And I appreciate you modeling that for other people because, it's great that it starts with the social media posts for sure
Mm-hmm.
for people, but
So
like
the
other,
other part is like I want to be out there in the peaceful protests and participating, and I can't with the job that I have right now. So that was the way that I saw,
yeah,
to give.
there's many ways to work to eliminate racism, and I do encourage anybody watching to go to the YWCA of Northern New Jersey website. We've given you a very concrete list that you can work on, and we will continue to be having these conversations as we have in the past, and we will continue to do from here because like Rachel, personally and for our organization, this is our platform to be able to hopefully engage more people to stand shoulder and shoulder together to work to dismantle racism in our community. But I thank you again for being a model for that for others. And I can appreciate that, because you are working and helping so many others and keeping your own family, needs supported, that's your way of giving back. But just to say to everybody out there, there's always a way. You just have to figure out which way works for you, and stay connected to some of the organizations that Rachel mentioned, and to other organizations committed to this work, and you'll find your place in
Mhm.
work because unfortunately there's more than enough for everyone to do, but we need all the hands together no matter where they end up. So with that, look, I can't wait to get back to get more delicious treats from Montclair Bread, and I do encourage everyone, as I said, to follow Rachel on social media. Not only will you get lots of great recipes for yourself right now, but as I said, you'll see all the wonderful work that she's doing in our communities. And how she's helping people. My assistant has run your 5K, by the way.
Oh, that's great. We're doing one tomorrow, on your own, of
Yeah,
our 5K course.
I'll have to tell her to get out there and do
I
it.
mean, with everything else that's going on in the world, tomorrow's National Donut Day.
I
So,
actually, I know we missed it day off. We did one day off from having this, but we do encourage everyone to celebrate National Donut Day with a donut. And with that, we also hope you can join us tomorrow. We'll have Dr. Patty O'Brien Richardson with us, and she'll talk about how to boost your immunity through food, faith, and fitness. I also encourage everyone to, mind your mind, check in when you can, check out when you need to, check in on the people around you. Stay well. Thank you for this time with us. Rachel, thank you for all you do for your
thank you for
community,
having me.
sharing your story with other business people and people in our community to inspire them. And we appreciate you and what you've been doing out there. And I know they need you, so get back
Thank,
to
thank you.
and have a great day. Well, bye bye.